Hi, my name is Andy Rasman. I want to share with you in this video some tweets that James Gunn, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, made on Twitter a good long time ago, a decade ago in some cases. I think the earliest tweet, which was very offensive that I've seen, was 6 years ago. I could be wrong, but let's just say a decade ago. So these are comments he made a decade ago. And he got fired for these tweets. Disney fired him. Now, I think to put some of this into perspective, James Gunn, from everything I've read online, is not a conservative. He's not conservative leaning whatsoever. Okay? He leans towards the leftist progressives. Okay? So the fact that Disney fired him over these tweets, I would assume they must be pretty bad. Okay? For a leftist leaning guy to get fired, okay, from Disney, a company which, from what I have understood, has not been conservative leaning for a very long time, if ever. So, what did James Gunn tweet that made Disney fire him? If you pay attention to social media, if you watch The View, for instance, Whoopi and her gang just refer to these as, offensive tweets, jokes about pedophilia and rape, and that they were out of place. And the ladies on The View tried to put this great construction on it, that James Gunn posted these things a long time ago, that he's a changed person, that if we were to go back on any of our social media feeds far enough back, we would find things that would get us fired. We would find things that were so offensive that none of us would be spared, okay? And the reason I'm actually making this is not because of The View. I'm making this because of Ben Shapiro. Because Ben Shapiro has questioned Disney's decision and has supported James Gunn for not being fired. So at one point, Ben Shapiro tweeted, and Ben Shapiro, hardcore conservative, usually agree with him on everything. So the fact that I disagree with him on this after I actually saw what James Gunn tweeted, I wanted to make this video so everyone can see what James Gunn actually tweeted. And then after seeing what James Gunn actually tweeted, you can then make your decision. Was Disney right or not right? And then actually seeing what he tweeted and not just hearing these were offensive jokes about pedophilia or rape. We all comedians, touch the line of what's offensive. So we shouldn't, he was a provocateur. I heard that today. He was just, he said he was a provocateur back in the day. Okay, a provocateur needs to provoke you to something. And good comedy is about being critical about society and culture in a way that is funny, in a way that is joking, in a way that does make people laugh, in a way that has a punchline. Okay, something that follows natural comedy. And what you're going to see from James Gunn are actually tweets that aren't jokes whatsoever, don't have punchlines whatsoever. Okay, so here we go. Ben Shapiro. For me, they're both private corporations that get to decide how certain speech impacts their product. So while I think the NFL handled things poorly, I'm not supremely troubled by their decision, and I think ABC was right to dump Roseanne. Alright, so he thought ABC was right to dump Roseanne. They are a private company. They can dump Roseanne if they think it will in any way impact their product. Okay, I agree. ABC had the right to dump Roseanne. NFL, whatever, they have freedom to handle things as they want to handle them. Okay? Now, after the James Gunn thing, here's what Ben Shapiro has to say. I think that James Gunn is an a-hole, as my exchange with him earlier this week made clear. I also think that firing him for vile old joke tweets is bad precedent and a mistake. There is no limiting principle to the outrage mob. So for firing him for old, vile jokes. Here's what I want you to see. These are not old, vile tweets. They're not jokes. They're old, vile tweets. Stuff which, if you are a company, Disney, which is seen as, I believe, as being a producer of products, mostly for kids, you think Mickey Mouse Club, a kids and family-centered product producer, you would think that what you're about to see is not what you want a director tweeting at any point in time in his life. If you have a director that's making movies which are geared towards teens and young kids and for family audiences in a lot of cases, and you don't want your director then to be putting an arm around fans that are young, taking photos with them, knowing that he's publicly posted what you're about to see. It's utterly inexcusable, as Disney stated. And what I like is that James Gunn has openly apologized for this. So for James Gunn, this video is not to dig at him deeper. It's not to throw punches at James Gunn more. He said these were wrong. He said they're not funny whatsoever. If you read some of his apology, you'll see he's not referring to these as jokes. He's referring to them as his thoughts and as his statements, and that he needs to be more thoughtful about what he posts. So it's more like I need to filter myself more, and it really will when you see this go. Who would ever say this? Would you let your kids around a friend of yours from high school that said stuff like this publicly? If you had a friend in high school that would say things like what you're about to see from James Gunn publicly, when you get married, when you have kids, is that the friend you would want your wife to know you had? Is that the friend you would want your kids to be around, knowing that this friend openly said stuff like this all the time, thinking it was appropriate or okay? Okay, now let's say you got a 40-year-old friend, you now have a kid in your 40s, and you know when he was 30 and you didn't yet have a kid, he would say stuff like this. Would you then be like, I don't know if I want him around my kids? So here are the tweets. You be the judge now, okay? I wish some of these so-called defenders of liberty would start to understand what freedom of speech is and isn't. Rosanna's allowed to say whatever she wants. It doesn't mean ABC network needs to continue funding her TV show if her words are considered abhorrent. Okay, sorry, not yet to where I wanted to go. This is James Gunn supporting ABC, and then he supports Disney in their decision, which I highly support for James Gunn backing Disney and not begging and saying they did anything wrong. All right, so here we go. Here's a tweet. This is 2010, so 8 years ago, right? Video, 100 pubescent girls touch themselves. Here's a tiny URL. Are you going to click that? If you click that, you're going to see pubescent girls touch themselves. That's horrible. I assume it's not actually a video to that, but probably something that's still very vulgar. The Hardy Boys and the mystery of what it feels like when Uncle Bernie fists me. Hashtag sad children's books. You supposed to laugh at that? At Lloyd Kaufman. The first time I masturbated to Justin Bieber, it was a joke, but now I can't stop. He's like jerk crack. Hashtag fake retweet. And again, this is 2010. Now, what makes this one really bad, in 2010, Justin Bieber was a teenager. I believe I saw one blog say he was 15. Okay? So he was a teenager. He was underage. He's publicly posting that he's masturbating to Justin Bieber and that it was a joke, but now he can't stop doing it. This is a teenager. He's publicly joking that he masturbates and can't stop masturbating. Thinking of a teenager. Now, if he had made that post about Britney Spears when she was a teenager, that would be completely inexcusable at that time, probably, right? Making a joke about masturbating to some teenage female. But I guess because it's a teenage male and he's male, gay stuff you can't call out, I guess. I guess gay people always get the pass. I don't know. I want to go big game hunting, but know it's morally questionable, so I'm going to split the difference and go big game raping. So big game raping is somehow splitting the difference between what, right? So it's not morally questionable. So big game raping is not morally. I don't get it. My new film, Jerk Loose, a small town where beating off is illegal, and one high school kid jerks off in front of the others to show how fun it is. This would be considered child pornography. My new film is going to be child pornography. I'm doing a big Hollywood film adaptation of The Giving Tree with a happy ending. The tree grows back and gives the kid a blowjob. This would be very, even more sick form of child pornography. Just made a joke about ass raping my friend when she was asleep. This would be ass raping a female, misogynistic, right? This is rape. Is there a punchline? What's the joke? You post it to Twitter, but you don't tell us the joke. Whoever this person is, I like it when little boys touch me in my silly places. Shh. What? The Expendables was so manly, I effed the shit out of the little boy next to me. The boys are back in town. This is 2010. So, I mean, again, this is what's with the child rape over and over. The Expendables was so manly. Dude, I think I became gay. Okay, I can kind of maybe see that being a punchline, right? Or, man, the Expendables were so manly, I think I have a man crush. Okay, I mean, that's still not necessarily funny in any way. But you go from the Expendables so manly, I'm going to now have sex with a little boy. And not just have sex with them, you're going to F the blank out of them. Eagle snatches kid is what I call it when I get lucky. 2012, 6 years. I was right. Less than 6 years. If I'm doing my math right here, okay? So eagle snatches kid is what I call it when I get lucky. So him getting lucky is snatching a little kid. How is this remotely funny? In what context would this be good or provoke anyone to anything meaningful? In what context do people laugh at this? If he's like at a party and he's like, hey, eagle snatches kids, what I call when I get lucky. Who laughs? Who would laugh? I remember my first NAMBLA meeting, North American Male Boy Love Association, I believe. It's about it's about pedophiles. Gay men that want to have sex with boys. I remember my first NAMBLA meeting. It was the first time I felt okay being who I am. Some of those guys are still my BFFs. 2009, I believe. This one's blurry. Why? What? I mean, don't all of these read as public confessions? And I don't know why they've suddenly been dug up. They've been public all along. Suddenly these tweets got dug up, okay? And there are many, many people who have signed a petition to get Gunn back at directing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and they're sending it to Disney. And I just saw Ben Shapiro tweeted again. Today I saw it. He tweeted this right here. I'm happy to endorse a program of live and let live when it comes to political rhetoric and comedy. The Guardians of the Galaxy cast released a statement defending Gunn decrying social media mobbing. They're right. Actually, the social media mob I've seen has largely in the mass media has been in support of Gunn. I've seen very few people actually post the tweets in full like what I just did, and say this is clear pedophilia. This is clear something is going on with this man. There's one I didn't even post about. He was in a shower and said the shower head was so weak that it reminds him of a little boy peeing on him. It's like, well, if a shower is weak in a hotel room, I don't think it's a little boy peeing on me. What sick person does that? And what sick person posts that online? And what sick person would read that and call it a joke? An offensive joke, as many of these people are putting online. So I'm glad Disney fired him. I support Disney 100% in firing the guy. I respect James Gunn for not asking for his job back. I respect James Gunn for saying he supports Disney in their decision, and I support James Gunn for saying that that this isn't who he wants to be. He's never going to post anything like that again. I hope he has changed. I think clearly the guy from these public tweets has some sort of pedophilia issue, has some sort of rape fetish, has some sort of homosexual stuff going on, and the way he shares it is not public. It seems more like a cry for help in a way. If you're a public figure making this much money, I guess at the same time, it may even make me think he thinks being in Hollywood and being around such power players and being in such positions, making such tweets is acceptable, right? In 2010, but now in 2018, we know that sort of stuff is not acceptable. So when we think that sort of stuff is acceptable, and I think it's the type of company he must be keeping in Hollywood. He thinks everyone's thinking this way, everyone's talking this way. I'm gonna put it out there. I don't know. That's me speculating a little bit. But clearly the man has issues. Clearly he deserved to be fired. I'm glad he got fired. And before you sign a petition and before you, put something out there like Ben Shapiro, I want you to have seen these tweets. I mean, I find it hard to believe Ben Shapiro saw all those tweets and said completely fine for Roseanne to be fired, but not for James Gunn to be fired. My ass. What Roseanne posted is nowhere near what James Gunn posted. What Roseanne posted, one could argue, is not even racist. Because when you look at the lady, the picture, the haircut she had and the dress clothing she had resembled very much what we saw in Planet of the Apes. Roseanne claims she was not thinking anything racist when she put that. She was really thinking, well, the haircut and this and that. And I think Roseanne admitted it was an ad hominem attack. It wasn't a real argument. It was something political. And if you really think about it, according to the atheists, we come from apes, so there shouldn't be anything racist there anyways. We all come from apes. We all come from monkeys, according to the atheists. And I know that's a straw man argument. I know they believe we actually came from some sort of missing link ape, and that the apes we now see also came from that missing link. But give me the missing link, and until such, I'll say we're descendants of apes. And so for them, we all technically come from apes, and for them, I thought Muslim Brotherhood was a good thing. So to say someone, comes from an ape, that's what evolutionists believe. And, leftist progressives seem to love Islam and think Islam is great and a religion of peace and the best thing since, I don't know when. All right. So I don't know, guys. I can't believe Ben Shapiro would back and say firing Roseanne was good, but James Gunn being fired, not good. I don't get it. I guess, is it because one is in the past and the other is current? But as Shapiro said, as James Gunn said, the deal is people have the freedom to fire people based on how they think that person's freedom of speech may affect and impact their product. Duh. I mean, you start seeing these tweets, it's going to be a problem, man. Because I tell you what, if James Gunn is directing Volume 3, I'm not seeing it, and I bet a lot of other people aren't seeing it either. And I hope it hurts them. And I do think Solo bombed, not because of bad story, not because of the previous Star Wars going against the fans in so many ways. I think the latest Solo bombed because they were going too hard social justice war, and even leading up to the film, they were clearly saying Lando is a pansexual. I don't want to support that. I don't care if it's in the movie or not. The writers of the movie said Lando was a pansexual. Donald Glover, that acted Lando, even talked about him being a pansexual character. And I'm sitting there going, I thought this should be a movie that families can enjoy. Why should anything about pansexuality be involved at all? Don't support it. All right? Guys, make your judgment call. Leave me a comment. Am I right to think Disney's completely right and no one should be supporting and signing petitions saying let the man back in? He just made pedophile tweets that weren't even jokes, that clearly were statements of, I think, probably guilt or open confession of some sort. Let me know if I'm off my rocker. Let me know if you agree with Ben Shapiro and the ladies of The View. Never thought I'd say that Ben Shapiro agrees with the ladies of The View. What a joke.